Hello, and welcome back to, I guess, my Confederate playthrough of Grand Tactician Civil War. As you can see there, you saw a little glimpse of my desktop as I have to, uh, like, whenever I click out on my window, the whole game downsizes on me. Uh, the last episode I made was essentially just kind of an introduction to the game, me, exploring a bit, and essentially everything leading up to the beginning of the war. It ended up being actually for like a 40-minute video or however long it was. It actually ended up being a pretty big file, much bigger than my Rule the Waves files. So what I did was, I don't know if anyone will actually notice or not, I went into my options and I lowered my resolution a little bit. Maybe that will take up less space in the recording. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll better compare that episode with this one. Anyhow, let's jump in. So the war began. War were declared, and essentially all these little armies have popped up all over the place. I'm just getting a look at these now. We've got the Army of the Potomac, 4,000 troops, 2,000 troops. I saw something over here, didn't I? Yeah, there's one here. This one here is the Army of the Northwest, 700 troops. So not very big. Let's see here. Yeah, just one regiment or one brigade, I guess. But then we look at, let's say we look at our Department of Ohio. It's 2,000 troops. That's not bad. Then Department of Pennsylvania, that's going to be 5,000, 8,000. Okay, so it's not too bad. We did see over here. Yeah, this one here is going to be, it's going to be 18,000, 18,000 guys, 18,000 troops versus we have 2,000, but currently it looks like they have 1,500 as opposed to 18,000. So that's a fight that maybe we could take on. Um, I've been thinking about this a little bit in the past day or so since I recorded the last episode. This episode will go out probably like staggered, like probably 3 days from like the first episode or something. I don't want to do this every day, this series, but I might have like a pretty fast tempo for it. But I don't know. We'll see. But so I was thinking about it a little bit, and I thought, what if I kind of do like a little bit of a holding action here in the east, where I'm more built up, like everything's kind of closer together. It seems like it'd be easier to reinforce each other and spend a lot of my efforts focusing on like the west over here. I'm not sure if you can capture states or not. I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll see if we can like capture like a whole state and see if we can't get like I think this is like Kansas right here. Yeah, that's Kansas. There's Nebraska, Missouri. That's something I'd like to focus on. I'd like to focus on Kentucky as well. But clearly, the big threat here will be the Department of the West. So what I'm going to do is I want to build up my Missouri State Guard first thing. So this is how you do this. You have your basic army here. Like this is I think this is a corps level. Actually, this is army level. This is 3 stars. We don't have corps yet. Like a corps is not part of the army structure yet. And the way it goes is you have your basic brigade. Well, this is division, but you'll have a brigade. And actually, let me show you. So here is an actual division, and your brigades go into your division. And then I guess this is technically a corps level. Well, yeah, this is core levels. This 3 stars. It's called an army right now, but this is technically a core, I believe. But your divisions go into your brigades go into your division like this. Let's see here. They all have mixed muskets. I don't like how small these units are, so what we can do is you can actually combine the two units. There we go. And then we're going to have another group of infantry. So we'll make another infantry division. And then we're going to have an artillery division. So we'll put artillery in there. And then we need to have something in his division. Otherwise, he'll disappear. I discovered that in the tutorial as well. Like if you have an army or a corps or a division that doesn't have any like subunits, whenever you click off the screen, like it just goes away. So the first thing I want to do is add a unit, and you look here and you see the support you have in the state. And I think that means you recruit people faster from higher support. And then you have the number of people already in service from that state. And then you have the volunteers, which is what you directly recruit from. So we are out west. So let's do a Texas brigade. And over here, you select infantry, cavalry, artillery, and then horse artillery. And you can adjust the size of your starting brigade. There's like 3 levels. There's like the smallest one, which is 1500, 2250, and then 3000. And there's a shows your support there. It shows what type of recruits they are. These are volunteers, so we can't draft anyone. We don't have a draft in service yet. And these are 1-year contracts. So I'm assuming when we recruit these guys, they'll disappear after a year. I don't know if we'll have a chance to like extend their recruitment or something. And then there's a recruitment cost, which money is sort of like a background type thing. You don't have to worry too much about money. You have to worry more about your economic rating. So we're going to recruit a Texas brigade, and you can actually change your uniform. I kind of like that. Let's go with a Texas brigade. They look a little bit snappy. Well, they probably should look more like these guys or that guy or something, like that guy. Actually, this will be a Texas brigade. And then they come into service, and then it's going to take 29 days for them to arrive. And then you know what? We can actually combine that too. And one of the things you can do is you can look at your commander. So this is Price. He has a lot of fame. He's politically assigned. So what we can do is I want to replace him. It's going to hurt our support a little bit, but I do want to replace him with some other commander probably. We got Cheatham. Like he just doesn't have much. Like he's got initiative. He's got a little bit of initiative and leadership and stuff, but this might end up being like our primary army that we're fighting with for at least at first. Like this guy here is pretty Braxton Bragg. I don't know. No cunning at all. And then oh, hang on. Robert E. Lee. What if he went west instead of to like what if instead of staying in Virginia, what if he went west? We're gonna put Lee in charge of our western army for now. We probably need it. There we go. And then so his first division will be let's see here. That guy's pretty decent. He's also politically assigned. Oh, that guy. Well, I just made him, so I think I can replace him immediately with no penalty. Let's see here. Breckenridge. He's pretty decent. And then, oh, Longstreet. Let's do Longstreet. And then for artillery, he's also politically assigned. But I think we can replace him because I think if you replace them immediately, it doesn't have any ill effects or anything. Now for this one, we want to go over here and we want to filter by artillery. We want to look for an artillery leader. Ripley. Let's see. Bragg is well, he has no cunning. He has admin, but no cunning. Lawton, Clayton, Cooper. Cooper has a lot of fame. That might be pretty good. He's a West Point graduate. Yeah, we'll take him. He'll be in charge of the artillery um, division, I guess, over here. And let's go ahead and recruit him a unit. We'll grab a New Mexico territory because it's close over here and there's only like 800 volunteers anyhow, so we can't recruit a big unit. So it looks like we go 45, 67, or 90. We'll take 90. I like that uniform. I like the dark gray with the red. So we'll keep that. It's Hardy. He'll be here in 39 days. And then we can take, what else can we get? There's Indian territory. We'll get another one of, oh, we can't change the uniform. Interesting. Well, we'll take it. He'll be here in 39 days as well. And then we need some more infantry here. So what we're going to do is we'll have a little look around. Well, let's check our commanders first. So this guy was already assigned. He's a volunteer. He's the only one that's actually in service right now. So we're going to replace him with an artillery guy. And we just he's like a brigade, so we'll just do like a captain or something. Oh wow, they don't have very good stats, do they? This guy's okay. McCown, we'll take him. And then Clark is in charge of our one infantry brigade here that we have. Let's get an actual infantry officer in charge here. Let's see, a major probably. That guy's pretty good. He's got no cunning. What does cunning do? I don't even know what cunning does, but he's got some other decent stats. Kirby Smith, we'll take him. So we'll take this guy. He looks pretty good. Well, let's check our other options real quick. Okay. Yeah, we'll take Kirby Smith. He's an infantry guy, and we can change out their weaponry. So since this is the only division that we have over here, the only brigade that we have over here, we want to give them some rifles. So the difference between rifles and muskets is you can see there that the rifled musket has 400 yards and the Springfield musket has, like the smoothbore, has 250. And then the accuracy is poor. The accuracy is mediocre, so that is good. And it also fires 3 rounds a minute as opposed to 2.5. So we're going to go ahead and choose some rifled muskets for them. I'm going to close it out for a minute. Oh, and you can see, okay, you can see our strength went up to 5,000 with, we still have the 23, 46, whatever in the army, but that's like the strength that's on the way, I suppose. And then we're going to grab Florida State Militia, I think. Maybe. This is the South Carolina State Militia. And then we have another army here. This is the Western Army. 2,000 troops in this army. So we can go in here. And it looks like we've got 2 of these weakened, kind of like not great brigades. So we're going to combine them together. That guy's a cavalry officer. Let's put an infantry officer in charge of his unit. Withers, there we go. That'll do. This guy is, um, other than administration, he's all right. Yeah, he'll do. He's fine. And then we can come here and not this button here, transfer. So we go to transfer and we look for the army we want to send him to, which is the Missouri State Guard, and you just slide him over. And he'll be there in 8 days. And then we'll slide him over, and he'll be there in 8 days as well. So we're immediately reinforcing, and then I think this army here is going to disappear. This is the Western Army. Yep, it goes away. And then we're going to take our Florida State Militia. Yeah, I was kind of brainstorming on how I want to do this. There's a lot of forts over here. This one's actually fine. We're cool. We have the Indian Territory, but we could go up here to Fort Larned, and we could try to like take over or besiege the fort, and we could get control of Kansas, perhaps. So I'm going to. Oh, there's a fort down here too, Fort Pickens. It's probably not super important that I worry about this one down here just yet. I want to get like forces up here into the west first of all. So we're going to. This is 5,000 or 500 troops. We're going to recruit. First of all, let's make a group out of it. This guy's fine. Okay. Now we recruit down here in Alabama. We're going to grab some infantry, but we're going to choose like a slightly smaller one, 2250, and we're going to recruit that one. And then once he's in the field, we can combine him with Anderson, and we'll have one nice brigade there. And then we're going to add a new unit that's so this is what you do is you can add a unit directly to your leader and it'll like be under his direct control. We're going to grab some Alabama artillery. There we go. We'll grab another one. We need artillery. And we're going to grab one more from like, I don't know, Florida's pretty close. We'll grab Florida. Boom. And then these, hopefully these aren't uh-oh. I accidentally recruited infantry instead of artillery. All right, so we'll move them over there and we'll grab another Florida, or we'll grab another Alabama artillery. Okay, and then let's check these commanders, make sure they're not infantry or anything weird. They don't have to be, they probably don't have to be artillery guys here because like this is going to be like a siege army, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. But now that this is set up, 24 days, 13 days, 14 days. I'm going to start marching them over here immediately. Where can we go? We're going to go over here to Fort Smith. This is where the Western Army, I think, was. So we're just going to position it for now. Let's see here. We probably need to build up this. We need to get close enough that we can contest 21,000 troops. So we really have to build this up, I guess. So we have 4 artillery. Can we give him a better gun? Do we have anything? We have 12 pounders. Or we have 12 pounders and 24 pounders. Let's give him some 24 pounders. That'll give us a little bit of a boost. And then we need to start. Another infantry brigade, I think. Replace him with an infantry guy. Who do we got? Oh, you know who we... Let's look for Pickett. There we go. He's good. Yeah, that'll be Pickett's division. And then we're going to grab some Georgia infantry. We're going to grab 27 days. Do we have any closer? Kentucky? Kentucky might be good. Recruit. 16 days. That's a lot closer. And then we need to fill in Longstreet's division. We'll do Louisiana. Recruit. And he'll be here in 26 days. Okie dokie. So Withers will be here in 8 days. Let's give him some different weapons. We'll give him some Springfield muskets. They won't have the range that the rifled muskets will, but we don't have a lot of rifled muskets. And then Longstreet's division, we'll give them some decent guns, like the Mississippi rifle and the Springfield rifled musket. And then Pickett's division will have to just have smoothbores. And I know this is taking a while. I'm getting, once I get used to this, hopefully I'll be a little bit faster. We need to assign some howitzers and whatnot. We'll do field guns for Hardy and Rains. And then we can do some 12-pounder howitzers. All right, let's check our commanders here. McBride and Slack, they're probably fine. And then that's the Missouri State Guard for now. I'm wondering how fast they're going to be able to reinforce as opposed to us. This will give us 16,000. That's probably enough to hold off whatever they've got here. Although I see another army up here. Army of the West, 500. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, we need to do the same over here. What is this? Oh, this is Hampton's division. That's pretty cool. This is Hampton's Legion, I believe. I think like, John Magruder's in charge, but I think there was an officer on the Confederate side who basically, he was like the richest man in the South, and he basically equipped up like a whole brigade or maybe a whole division himself and took command of it. So what we'll do is Army of the Potomac. Let's go back to, where's Hampton at? Here it is. We'll just transfer them to Army of the Potomac. We'll give him a new unit, and we'll work that out in a minute here. Oh, there's Hampton. There's Hampton's Legion. Actually, it's funny. Hampton's Legion is in the Army of the Potomac, but we'll get that sorted out soon enough. Okay. So that seems like a quick way to reinforce the Army of the Potomac. That's 4,000, 2,200. Yeah, look, the Army of Northeastern Virginia is going up to 11,000, almost 12,000. Department of Pennsylvania is going up to 8,000. This one over here was small, but it's going up to 5,000. We have an army over here we need to look at. Okay. So we need to organize. Let's give them a new group. Magruder, that's fine. He can be in charge of that. He'll be in charge of, is that AP Hill? That's Daniel Hill. Wade Hampton. Man, he's famous and they have good rifles. So he'll just have to be like his own. Oh, hang on, I can combine. Okay, Yule's a cavalry officer, so let's throw his unit into Hampton's. Now we have 2,400 guys with these Mississippi rifles. Jones will just have to make do with the muskets. Oh, a Daniel Hill's unit has Enfields. Those are British weapons. And then we'll organize a quick. All right, Commander. Replace artillery. We'll do him. That's fine. We'll assign another set of. We'll do Florida artillery. Let's see that guy, and Hood, John Hood. I didn't know he was a cavalry officer. He's not a cavalry officer. We'll replace him with a cavalry guy. Wickham. That's Evans will do. And then we need to fill out Magruder's division a little bit here. We'll do Georgia infantry. And we're running out of volunteers. Tennessee infantry. And then we need to give some to Pierce. We'll do some more Tennessee infantry. We'll do some Virginia infantry. Okay. And we'll grab some Springfield muskets for these fellas since they're in this theater where they're pretty likely to get into combat. So we want them to have decent guns if we can. This guy's a cavalry officer. Let's go with this guy here. And we'll give him some muskets. There you go. And then this is a tiny little cavalry brigade. So we're going to add a new unit directly to the commander, and we'll put in some New Mexico Territory cavalry. So they can go up to 500. We'll do 500 here, or 550, and then we'll try to combine them into one if we can. We don't want Bragg in charge of our cavalry, do we? There you go. All right, and then how big will this unit be? This will be 15,000. That's actually really big. And then we need a few here in the army of the Shenandoah. Oh, there's Jackson's brigade. Look at that. And then we'll do an artillery thing. So let's do, and hopefully once I get all this set up. Oh, this is a custom character. So you're able to make like kind of some custom characters, and it will sprinkle them throughout the game. So I'm going to put Tiny Dragon, Captain Tiny Dragon, in charge of the artillery over here. And then Pendleton, yeah, he's an artillery officer. There's a base named after him. I think it's a Marine base. So we're going to do some West Virginia artillery, and we'll make them full-sized. And we'll do some more West Virginia artillery. Okay, Stuart's cavalry, it'll be fine. And we need some more infantry here, so we'll do some Tennessee infantry. And some South Carolina infantry. And we'll also give them some muskets, so they're not like completely helpless. Oh, he's an engineer. We're gonna replace, nope, hang on. Frost. Oh, he's an infantry guy. He's not an infantry guy, but he's got decent stats, it looks like. And then, so this unit will be what, 1,800, so it'll be about 8,000. It'll be about 8,000 or so troops here in basically, you know, what becomes Maryland or West Virginia. No, this is, I think this becomes West Virginia. Okay. And then, Army of the Northwest, we just need to reinforce it a little bit as well. We'll give them a couple of fellas. So let's put a division down. That's a cavalry guy. That'll do. This is 700 guys. So we're going to grab some South Carolina infantry. We can't. We're going to grab some Texas infantry, 1,500. No, we'll do West Virginia. They're right here. 1,500 West Virginians, and then we'll combine them with Smith's brigade there. And then we need to grab some Virginia infantry and some artillery. We can grab a bunch of West Virginia artillery. And we'll grab some South Carolina artillery. And that'll probably be all right for now. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen here, so who knows. And then I saw there was like a militia unit or something. There was a South Carolina state militia. So what I'm going to do is luring. That's an infantry guy. This is Stephen D. Lee. Stephen D. Lee. Anderson. That's a cavalry guy. Let's grab an artillery guy or an engineer. This guy will work. French. James. Yep, there we go. That's a really good artillery guy. We're going to grab some South Carolina artillery. And how big is this infantry? Pretty small. So we're going to grab some Georgia infantry, 1,500 men, and that can reinforce there as well. And we're going to send this unit marching, because I noticed this fort down here. We're going to send it down here to Pensacola for the moment until they can reinforce. Oh, this is another thing that happens. So when I'm going to cancel the order. So when you do an order in this game, you right click and this little thing pops up and you can hover over it and it'll give you different options. You can do like forced marches, you can retreat, you can choose river movement, sea movement, go by rail if you want to. And then what you do is you just hit, if you don't want to do any of that, you don't have to hit anything, but you can hit issue orders. Otherwise there'll be like a little countdown timer and there'll be a delay in your order. Okay, I know this is probably getting pretty boring, so let's okay, Army of Tennessee. Let's give them something at least. Anderson. He's a cavalry guy. Again, we don't want cavalry in charge of infantry. I don't know how much of a difference it makes. There we go. Johnson will do. This is another 1,500. That's actually probably fine. We'll do some Indian Territory infantry. We'll do some Louisiana infantry. And then we need artillery. Alrighty, Pemberton will work. We'll give them some Georgia artillery. And some Georgia artillery. And then maybe a little bit more infantry, if we can find any. Kentucky, maybe. Mississippi infantry. We can do a whole unit of Mississippi infantry. I just don't want them to be too vulnerable. That's 7,000 troops. That's probably pretty good. Okay, there's an army right here. Army of the Mississippi. That's 3,000. I might be contending with that. All right, so I've got my infantry, kind of on the way here. Let's do one more. Missouri, North Carolina. Another unit in North Carolina. Bring us up to about 10,000 troops for Army of the Tennessee. Now that's done, I can look into my my fleets, like my ships and stuff. And there's a fleet down here, the New Orleans squadron, and I can take a look at it and see that there's a couple of ships that aren't quite. It's in. I don't know what it's doing. It says it's in harbor for repairs. So we'll transfer that out, the stuff that's being repaired, and we'll give them So this can go in rivers. We're going to go ahead and give them this thing and this thing. And then I'm going to send them up the river to support this stuff that's happening. What is this? Is that St. Louis? Yeah, it is. I'm going to send the little flotilla or squadron or whatever it is up there to support. Don't know if it'll do anything, but maybe it'll help us, like, give us some gun support in a battle. I don't know if that how that works. And then do we have any other fleets? We have North Carolina squadron in Savannah. So let's reinforce the Savannah squadron. That's looking a little bit weak there. We can give them some schooners. This would probably be decent out on the water. Some like a brig, schooner, and then like another schooner, I guess. The Virginia is being built. Not yet ready. Historically, it never ended up being completed as the Virginia. Alrighty. And funny enough, we're getting close to 40 minutes, but we're ready to kind of start doing some stuff here. I just want to run the game a little bit and see what happens. So, we're at 16,000. I really want to. We'll do Missouri. We're in Missouri basically, so let's give them one more set of troops. Replace him with an infantry officer. I want the pretty much the best of the best over here. And the rest of the armies are going to be hurting a little bit for good weaponry. But that's kind of how it started for the Confederate side. Is they just didn't have very many good weapons. I remember reading a statistic that like in 1861, like most Confederate troops were using like smoothbores and shotguns and whatnot, and the Union was using a lot of rifled weapons. But by 1862, something like 80% of Confederate forces had been issued rifles of some kind. All right, so let's save the game, Confederate, and we're going to try running the clock a little bit. All right, so my readiness is going up. I have 2,000 troops versus 1,500. Let's try and chase them out of here. If we can take over St. Louis, that would be pretty sweet. What is that? We've issued bonds. I don't know. I feel like, should I wait? Should I wait how many days? 8 days, 11, 26, 28. No, that's too long. Let's do it. Let's push in. We are determined. A recruitment crisis. The Union is unable to fill their ranks. Well, they didn't seem to have very much trouble filling up like 5 armies with like 15,000 troops. All right, what is this? Why are we not fighting? We're preparing a siege. I don't want a siege. I want to attack, attack, attack. Assault? Whoop. Hang on. Okay, there it goes. I thought I was crashing or something. It just like kind of, I didn't have my mouse control. Actually, the mouse is like moving real slow. Kind of jumping around a little bit here. But I just want to. I know this might take a little while for this battle. I just want to dip my toes in. It's been 2 episodes now. Like, we deserve to have something happen. I don't want everyone to get bored and stop watching. And maybe we can beat them in a one-on-one fight. This isn't really much of an advantage for us, and we're on the attack. We outnumber them by about, what, 600 troops or so? Like, it's like 1,600 of them versus 22 or 2,400 of us. So you'd think with a defensive position, they should have the advantage. All right, our scouts report the enemy is near St. Louis. We're facing Department of the West. They have about 2,000 men and 12 guns. They're green. Their morale is confident. We're probably also very green. And they have a good supply situation. And apparently, we're on the defensive because you can see that we hold the objective. Okay. Well, this is the deployment screen. And you can see there that there's the enemies there are in Springfield. So we can go over here, we can click. So we click on HQ, and that'll let us zoom in and out. We can grab our Missouri State Guard. We've got these divisions that have no troops in them yet, but they are on the field, like the HQs. And we just deploy like this. For some reason, our artillery is they're stable. Hopefully they'll have time to build up some morale. And then we look over here and we see they have more artillery than we do. But we are on the defensive. And one thing we can do here is actually all of our troops are nervous and whatnot. I don't know what's going on. First battle. That's okay. That's probably it. So what we can do is we can go to engineering points. We can build with your engineering points. So normally you can like construct breastworks and stuff, but with engineering points you can build parapets, which is even better cover. So we're going to, I don't know, assuming they come down this road at us, we're gonna. So if they come down either way, we're gonna go like that and finish like this. That's very tiny. Well, maybe we can put some of our artillery behind it. Okay. And then you can your HQs, you can like order them around individually by holding down Alt. So like you don't have to move the whole division. All right, here we go. We're going to build some breastworks while we wait on the enemy to get here. I'm going to put it on 20 speed. We're going to see what the enemy decides to do. And I believe if you have engineers and whatnot in your army, it gives you more construction points, like in the pre-battle stuff. Right, here comes the infantry. Okay, we're like not lined up behind this very well. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Go like that. And it's the same thing as the main map. Whenever you give an order, like I'm holding down right mouse button here and angling, this little timer pops up, and you can select what modes you're on, like fallback, retreat, move at a certain time, move at a signal, and you can like basically set up a bunch of movement orders with your troops. And then like a little like thing will this little signal thing will pop up above them, and it'll just stay there, and they'll stay where they're at. And then you go back and like whenever you want them to move, you start clicking on those. You can do them rapid fire. But here we're just going to issue the order. Okay. And then we're going to get them behind proper cover like this. Cool. We do want to angle a little bit so we get more troops firing. Hopefully my artillery are not getting hit. They are getting lost one guy. And the enemy is, you can see that little dotted line. I think they're close, very close to getting hit by like canister shot or grape shot or whatever. Yeah, I don't know how well we're doing here. There is this thing up top you can look at. We've inflicted 63, they've inflicted 56. Okay, well, maybe in this case we need to march like this and get them at like an angle. And so our artillery's shooting like right into their flank. But our infantry looks like they're about to break. They're stable though. Okay. Move their commander in. I'm going to move my commander in. And you can issue rally. So he's going to go over here and like rally them up. Hopefully keep them in the field a little bit longer. This is risky. But I want my artillery like on the flank. Yay! Good. Good, good, good. Okay. Good, 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 good. We took 274 losses there, but we inflicted 312 so far. We're going to keep pushing on to try to rout them if we can. Maybe we can get that artillery. So our artillery is actually taking some hits. So we're going to get them back behind. Looks like I've already lost some guns. And meanwhile, the division is going to march forward. They are confident, so they're okay for now. I'm going to send the General Lee with them. I'm going to speed things up. I'm still confident. Let's go right down the road, I guess. And I want to keep my commanders close. My artillery is not quite able to reach anything at the moment, so maybe I do need to move them up a little bit closer, like here. And I'll send their division commander with them. I don't know if the division commanders can do any rallying, but I do want to get close enough that I can engage their artillery with my rifles. So a little bit closer. I want to stay just outside of their canister range. Am I close enough? I am close enough to engage. Artillery will hopefully be a little bit fragile, but it looks like I'm not engaging. A little bit closer. There we go. We should be able to break artillery fairly quick, right? Yeah, we broke them. They've lost 29 casualties. And now we can move up even closer. And we'll do this. We'll do that. We're going to move our artillery. We're going to keep it on this side of the river. And we're going to engage this. Oh, hang on, that's a train track. You can see that the AI tries to take cover when it can behind terrain. But in this case, we're just going, oops. In this case, we don't want to get that close, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Let's try right here and see how close that is. Close enough to shoot, at least. The enemy's retreating. So can we, like, charge them or something. That's a little bit weird. Um, cancel. Hang on. I've got my whole division selected, or my whole army selected. That's part of the problem. I guess I can charge up there. No, they're running away. Okay, well, I can't catch them, but we will take this little victory. Nice little minor victory. We killed 21% of their army. We took 12% of ours. We lost 300. They lost. Yeah, we lost 300. They lost 372. They've made an orderly withdrawal. Withdrawal. Quit battle. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. And hopefully this file will be a little bit smaller since you can see like the black at the edges of the screen. I downsized the resolution. Nice. The enemy national morale dropped by 0.24, so a quarter of a percent, and our military experience raises by a quarter of a percent. Oh, we someone's famous, Colonel Cooper. I wonder if that's my infantry commander. I don't think it is. I wonder who Colonel Cooper is. All right. We've earned a total victory, the army running away. So we suffered 372, so 78 were killed, 54 captured. Oh, that's the enemy. The enemy suffered 74 killed, 54 captured. They're still confident. We lost 42 killed, 39 missing. So we lost about half as many killed, and we're eager with supply, or eager with morale. We captured 180 rifles. We captured 5 guns. Cool. Close that. Let's go back into slow mode here. And hopefully we'll be chasing away the Department of the West. Let's see, who is Cooper? Oh, that's the commander of the artillery. So he gained some fame. So what does that do? Oh, look how famous he is. 4 stars. He's legendary. Go Cooper. Samuel Cooper. Excellent. And then that will probably retreat a bit. But for now, we're like almost an hour in. So I'm going to go ahead and call this episode for here. Army of the Mississippi. If that comes up, that could be a problem if they like end up helping. So that's a problem for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. We got our first victory. We have our first battle and our first victory. So we're 1 for 1. I'm sure that won't last for very long, considering how absolutely massive these armies are getting. 9,000 troops, 10,000, 13,000. So yeah, once they start filling in their armies, we're gonna be. Here's another one, Army of Tennessee. Yeah, once they start filling in their armies, it's gonna get really nasty. So that's something to look forward to. Anyhow, appreciate y'all so much. If you got any kind of advice for me here, feel free to let me know in the comments. I read and try to reply to every single comment I see. Occasionally I'll miss one now and then. Like sometimes I'll log in, there'll be like 5, 6 comments, and try to go through and answer all of them, but like sometimes I'll just skip one by accident. If so, it's nothing personal. I've read it. Read everything first, and I go through and try to reply. But I'll see you all next time. And I don't have like a good sell safe out there. I don't have a good one for that, so I don't know. And you're gonna see my desktop again. I just have to go over here to OBS to stop recording. Actually, maybe not. I'm just at the edge of the screen as it's dragging up. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye.